Do you want to draw better anime faces, but no matter what you do, they just look bad and boring? Because that was me for a really long time. But I've noticed the same mistakes that I was doing over and over, and finally I fixed them. So first let me show you the mistakes, but more importantly, how to actually fix them yourself. So the first mistake will instantly improve your anime faces, and the mistake is making your head too small that there is pretty much not much space for brains. So here we have a simple circle for the head that I did, and then obviously we add here a simple jaw. Obviously the drawing is pretty old, but here we can see that there is not much space in the head. So we see here that this area here looks super flat, and what I've realized with anime faces is that the heads are pretty big themselves. So what can help us with drawing like bigger brains, bigger heads for our anime faces is pretty much, instead of drawing this as a ball from like a 3/4 view or more like a side view, is instead of a ball just using an egg. So you see that we have a little bit more volume here in the back. So we have a little bit bigger head here. Instead of drawing something like this, we see that there is not much volume here. Boom, more like something like this. Boom, then we have more volume to the cranium. So then next thing we can do is pretty much, instead of drawing eyes in the middle, we can lower them. So instead of in the perfect middle, so from the top of the head to the chin, we can make them a little bit lower, and then around here we can place our eyebrows like this. Boom, and this will make your heads, your anime heads, much more appealing. It just makes the heads a little bit better. Add some volume, but also if you don't want to like draw eggs for your heads, what you can do is just draw a circle and then just copy the circle, boom, Ctrl V, and just do something like this, and you have the same thing here, boom. And obviously a little bit below we have anime eyes, something like this, boom, eyebrows, eyebrows, boom, obviously cheek here, and we have a simple head that has more volume than just super flat, no brain. Now also, if you struggle with drawing faces or anime faces and you want to actually learn it and improve, you can check out link in the description for my pre-sale of my course that I'm making. So it will be half of the price till I just finish it, and then you will get it. So it's not finished yet, but you can just get it for half of the price. Now also, if you want my brushes, they are for free in the description below, and with them you'll get 30 art tips that will help you improve your art in 30 days. So next mistake will help you avoid faces looking like a potato. So I've struggled with drawing this part here so much to the point that I avoided for a really long time drawing faces in other perspective than front view. So let me quickly help you and show you how you can actually draw this area here much better, and this here. So you actually want to draw like more angles. This might seem a little bit hard, but to be honest, it's super simple. Pretty much what we want to do is draw an egg or a circle. Obviously make it a little bit bigger. Then we draw our line here. Boom. Place somewhere a chin. Now connect this area here. So from this side, from the circle, straight down to the chin. And then on the other side, I usually just eyeball this and put it for now somewhere around here. Next I'll tell you exactly where. Obviously for anime faces I like to make the chin a little bit pointy, like you see here, here, and here. Boom. So now we have this simple shape for our head, and now from the top to the chin I put the middle, and then above that we can put our eyebrows. So probably somewhere around here would be our eyes, like this. So I pretty much go from this brow ridge here in to somewhat middle of the eyes, in, out a bit. Obviously it can be a super subtle obviously curve. Let's add some eyebrows and eyelashes for now. Boom. Okay, then I just go out a bit, and let's break this into thirds. So from this side here to the middle, it would be a nose, something like this. I'll make it a little bit higher. Boom, like this. Boom. We have a simple face. So then I go out at around this point here, so somewhere between this and that, I curve down. Boom, and go straight into chin. Boom. And we have a small simple cheek like this. Also what you can do is here you can go a little bit in. It's about the starting point of the lips. So you can see here, boom, lips start, and I go a little bit in. Boom. So it's something like that. Out, in, and something like this. Boom. This flow. So we can use this here, boom, 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 and we have a simple side of the face. Obviously this you can do a little bit more pointy, whatever, depends on the character you want to draw. It's like this, boom, and we have a simple cheek. Obviously you can now play with this. Now this part here that you draw you want to first place lips. So pretty much from the bottom of the nose to the chin. In the middle, we have, at around middle, we have bottom of the lips, somewhere around here. So here would be probably the middle of the lips. And then on this point here, so pretty much on the straight line, if you're like on perfectly like 3/4 view, boom, here we have this point where this curves, boom. Obviously you can play with the proportions here and make it something like that. You can obviously curve it. You can even skip this and just some details like that, boom. And we have a simple, super simple side of the face. So yeah, I struggled a lot with this part here, and now it's much easier. So next we want to go to another mistake, but use the same example here. Because when we look at these eyes, you can see that there is something off, that there is super clearly something's off. So you see this eye is higher, this one is lower. I thought it looked good back when I was drawing this, or I didn't, I don't know, I don't remember. But yeah, a fix to that is super simple. So whenever we draw a head, we have this line here that divides the head into left and right part. But then we obviously place a line for eyes, and we try to keep this a 90-degree angle. So for example, if we're drawing from like a perspective, something like that, that would, even though it doesn't look like 90 degrees, it would still be this 90 degrees here, this line here for the eyes, we want to match the perspective of the whole face. So if we connect so pretty much there would be our brow ridge. So pretty much there would be our brow ridge. We want to make this line here parallel with this line here. Same for the line of the mouth. We want to make this parallel here. So pretty much for the eyes, we want to connect the corners of the eyes. So there would be probably somewhere here if we draw something like that, and connect them with a straight line, boom. And we want to then match it to the perspective of the face. Then for the corners, so probably somewhere here, boom, here. We see that it's not really that aligned. So we can either lower this part here, so it would be something like this, boom, or just raise this. But that looks much better. Here we have a corner, boom. Still a little bit off, so we can put it a little bit lower, boom. If we flip it, it's a little bit better. But yeah, not only these corners, but we can also use this corner here. So pretty much the lowest point of the eye. So it would be somewhere here. Let's take a blue here and here. So we can still see that it's not really perfectly aligned, but it's much better. Now, if we go back to this part here and connect this part here with this, boom, we can already tell that it's not really that good. Now, the mouth line would be somewhere like this. The nose would be now this. You can see that even mouth is different than the nose. Then obviously this corner here is, I mean, it's super bad. Like this even overlap somehow. So yeah, this will help you align these eyes much better. But yeah, same obviously for front view. But yeah, don't be scared to like measure things. I used to be super scared. I felt like it was cheating to just go with my finger and measure this space between eyes, the space between the length of the thirds of the face, boom. I was super scared of it. I thought it was cheating, that you just have to eyeball it. But no, just take your fingers, just measure, boom, boom, boom. If it's the same, if you want it to be the same, okay, same for here. Just measure things. It will help you not only draw better things, but also improve you faster, okay? Because you're now thinking of all the proportions and the relationships between different things. So next mistake is making your faces super flat. So what I missed back in days is the curvature of the face. So even though I draw a ball, it was still super flat. So obviously what helped me was thinking more in 3D. So looking at 3D models is super useful, but also just trying to imagine the other part of the head here. That here you see that there are still eyelashes going from the other eye. But also whenever you draw a face in a different angle, just make sure that you don't draw a super straight line, boom, super straight line, but you curve them a little bit, like this, boom, something like this, boom. So no perfect straight line, but more curved. Obviously this is side view, but still we have a curve here, boom. So here we have our simple head, obviously. So it's also good because whenever we draw a simple facial features, we can also think in 3D. Here we can see that there is a little bit of curvature, same here. Obviously this here is the same curvature because we have an eyeball. So for example, here we can see that here we wrap around the eyeball because eyeball is a ball, obviously. Same here, we have a little bit of angle here. And also these eyes aren't something like a stickers, boom. They actually see that this one goes a little bit like that and this goes a little bit like that. So in like planes we would have something like that, boom. So here one eye, boom, that, and here the other eye. Obviously curvature, so we can even draw a simple balls for it and then draw things around there. That, boom, boom, boom. Okay, and same here. So this will help you draw like much better and less flat faces. Here would be our pupil. So here we can even place the waterline here, and it adds a little bit of depth. Boom, a curvature. You can even push it here. Same with the mouth. So here we can see that the mouth is pretty flat. It's like this, boom, corner, corner, boom, boom. So it's pretty flat. So in anime faces, obviously we simplify a bit, but we want to still keep the curvature of the face. So, and here we obviously set this upper lid curves. Okay, we can now obviously from above it would be more like this, boom, there's like that, boom. You wouldn't really see the upper lid as much. But also with drawing like less flat faces, a mask can really help you. So here we have a simple eye socket and eyebrow ridge. Then we can obviously protrude here, go down here, same here, and go like this. So if we have eyes here, let's say somewhere here, down middle, there would be nose. So here, bottom of the lips, we can do something like this. Boom. And we have a simple mask. Boom. It makes your faces less flat, and pretty much you just copy this angle here with this angle here, this here, and then a curve here, boom, bottom of the lips, boom. And we have a mask. So for example, here we have this, now this here, boom, boom, something like this, boom, and this curved here. And pretty much we can do a line here, something like this, and then obviously there would be a nose, boom, boom, but we can just simplify it into anime nose, boom. But yeah, mask is also useful. So next one is pretty simple. It's pretty much just placing the neck in the wrong position, so it can actually destroy your drawings and characters. So when it comes to necks, what I like to just do and what I learned is to pretty much obviously from the front view just start from the middle like that. Don't draw the line here, but just have this width here of this jaw and try to keep it at around the middle, probably somewhere like here, boom, boom, and just try to keep it in like half of this width here around, so this will be a little bit thicker. But yeah, now for the placement of the neck, you can see that obviously it's from the middle, but also you can just maybe do this and you have it, but it's from a front view. Now from a more like 3/4 view, which is more tricky, I pretty much just start from like around either here and just draw something like this, and then obviously I add a little bit more volume because there's a back of the head, more like this, boom. Here we have jaw, this, boom, there would be a neck, boom. Here we have an eye, and depending on the perspective, so in like more 3/4 view, I just tend to start the neck at around this eye, the closer eye to us. So I don't draw here, okay, it would be pretty small, pretty thick neck. So yeah, that's I just draw at around the eye. But yeah, I just probably keep something around here. Now from a side view, it's pretty much super simple. So we can see here that we have like a side view. Then I pretty much just go at around here, this point there, and just go straight down, boom, and we have a start for our neck. Obviously add a little bit more volume. Here we have a simple neck, boom, jaw, and yeah, and then an ear like this, boom, a Y, boom, boom, and obviously back of the head. But yeah, it's super simple, like it's super easy to remember. Just think about this eye here whenever you draw perspective. And also in the front view, as I said, you can just start from the middle of the eye, boom, down, and same here, down, boom. So I remember about hearing a thing, and it's actually opened my eyes so much whenever I was drawing. So to the point that I'm using it all the time. So what it is? So the mistake was using the same size for every facial features. So here we can actually see that these are super similar with the size, okay? So what we can do is pretty much make it different sizes for each facial features. But not only that, we can also do that for the thirds of the face. We can also do that for shapes. So for example, we can make this shape here a big, boom, this maybe medium, and then this maybe smaller. Boom. So small, medium, big. Now coming back to facial features, this is like one of my first drawing on Procreate I did on pretty much in more like a stylized anime style. But here we can see that I actually did something. So the eyes are bigger, the nose is probably almost same size as the lips, but it works. So we can call this like probably small and medium. Also the thirds are different because this middle third is way bigger than this, and there would be a chin, a forehead, something like this, boom, boom. So pretty much we have big, medium, small. We want to actually do that all the time. It makes our faces feel a little bit more appealing, but also you won't be drawing the same faces ever again because you can just change a little bit of size of one facial features. So make it the eyes a little bit bigger, the nose maybe smaller, and it will make a huge difference. And obviously in more like anime styles, the eyes are usually bigger. So here we go to the next mistake, which I used to do a lot if you see these faces here. So this mistake was adding too much details. If we see these faces here, these more like anime faces, we can see that the facial features are super simple. We have here like two curves, here one line, two lines, a simple dot for a nose, obviously a shadow shape. Same here, we can see a simple shadow shape, one dot for nose, and here a little bit more because the mouth is open. Same for eyes, one line, two lines, but one line, two line, but one, two, one, two. Even eyebrows are like three lines, boom, boom, boom. So we can see that everything is super simple. But here I was adding too much details, like I wanted this to be more anime style. We can see that we have some details here, a little bit of more mouth here. So we could probably just take this like that, boom, do this, take this color here, boom, boom. Or we go back with this here, change its color like that, boom, one line, two lines. And we have like more anime style nose. Obviously we can push this a little bit to the side to match the perspective of the face, boom. Same for lips, we could even like erase them and do something like here. So yeah, like simplifying this stuff is actually super game changing. And here, just take this one here, that nostril. So yeah, simplifying facial features and pretty much everything in anime art style will add a lot of appeal and just will make it much better. So here, for example, for hair, you can see that we have one shape here, boom, one shape here. Then we can add some details here. Obviously, we have one shape that is broken down into boom, into some details here, boom. So pretty much like 1, 2, 3. Same for here. I started with a simple big shape like that, and then add one part here, then a little bit here, and boom, same here. Now here we can see that there is like boom, 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 like goes here, boom, something like this. Then I don't even know what's going on here. Some go here, some go here, some go out, boom, something like that. Something goes here, boom, 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 boom. So let's random shapes like here, boom. I don't even know what's going on here, and probably I didn't even know when I was drawing. Break it into simple shape, less is more, obviously. Same for eyes, instead of just drawing like a curves like this, just one line, second line, and we have upper eyelid. Then either one line, another one, we have bottom eyelid. And you can even do like something like this, boom, where you don't really have the bottom eyelid. You just, I don't know, you can just draw an eye and maybe like a line here, boom, and here. Obviously you can add some eyelashes like this, eyeliner, boom, maybe some here, some here, some here, boom, 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 and obviously an eye like this, boom, and a little bit more details here. So yeah, simplify everything. You see that here we again have one line, two lines, here a curve as one line, boom, boom. Very simple. And nose is 1, 2, and small curve here. Mouth is 1, 2, and something like this. So now to quickly recap everything, we want to pretty much not let our faces, our heads be too small that we cannot really fit a brain in them. So make bigger heads. Then to avoid your faces looking like a potato, we just want to simplify this side here into this line going to around middle of the eye, then going out, then going in and out a little bit. And obviously the curvature like being at around the size, the height of the nose, the tip of the nose, a little bit above that actually. And obviously this part here sits at around middle of the mouth. Next we want to measure our eyes with lines. We want to keep them parallel with the perspective of the face. So pretty much just connect corners of the eyes, the inner corners, outer corners and bottom parts with straight lines and try to make them parallel to each other. Then remember about curvature of the face to avoid your faces looking super flat. Next, to avoid your neck have weird proportions and weird placement, we want to keep them at around the width of the jaw. So from this part to this, try to make the neck half of this width. So something like this. Obviously this is a little bit wider. And then obviously aligned with the eyes. So for example, front view can be something like this. Obviously you don't have to follow this 100% correctly. Then we have our eyes from the 3/4 view. So at around obviously this part here, we want to start and connect. Then start the neck, boom, and then add a little bit volume here. And from side view, it's super simple, pretty much just straight line below the tip, the corner of the eye, and then start a neck, boom. And then to add a little bit of variety to your faces, remember about the rule small, medium, big. So make your facial features some a little bit bigger, some medium and some smaller. It will help you make your characters more appealing and interesting. And then last part is to simplify. So anime art style is obviously all about simplification. So go and simplify things into just a couple of lines, like here. And you can also check out my Patreon for monthly tutorials. And if you're struggling with drawing anime faces, you can check out this video here when I show you how to draw them step by step.